Good morning, everyone. No, sorry, not good morning, everyone. It's good evening, everyone. Hi, my name's Arsh Ellahi, and I'm online tonight with a good friend of mine, Andrew Marnell. Andrew, are you online?
I am indeed. Good evening, all.
Hi. Yes, indeed. We've got a lot of people online, Andrew. So, first of all, one thing I always say is ask everyone to just give us a quick hello. Let us know that they can hear us nice and loud and clearly. Okay, we've got Colin on from Scotland. We've got, right, okay, brilliant. Right, guys, what I want you to do that's listening in online, I want you to literally, if possible, what do I want you to do? I want you to tell us which locations you're in. So tell us where are you calling, where you're listening from. Okay, so we've got Preston, we've got Coventry, we've got Horsham, we've got Stoke, we've got Birmingham, we've got London, we've got Redhill, we've got Basingstoke, Romford, Manchester, Southampton, Birmingham, okay, London, Glasgow, right, okay. Interesting. So what we're going to be doing is we're going to go live. Sorry, one thing I am actually also going to do as well. We're going to go live on Facebook. We're going to go live on Instagram. We're going to go live on also YouTube as well. So we're across quite a number of different platforms. So what we're talking about tonight, how to find hundreds of motivated sellers. And like I said, I've got my very good friend and business partner online, Andrew Marnell. So first of all, I want to say thank you. Thank you so much for your time this evening, because I appreciate that we can be doing lots of other things on Sunday evenings. It's not always the best time to run webinars, but the reason why I do webinars on Sunday evenings is because, frankly, I get a little bit bored on Sunday evenings. So I thought, well, why not educate other property investors? I've managed to drag Andrew online as well. So we've got a lot of content that we're going to be going through. It's the first time we're running this kind of webinar, so it's, you know, with all due respect, if you want to add something into it, more than welcome to. So what is it we're going to be talking about? So you're in the right place. If you want to follow a simple, system to system. If you want to follow a simple system that's going to bring you more deals. If you've actually hit a brick wall when it comes to growing your business, or if you're actually looking for some fresh ideas to secure more deals. Does that sound good? We're only going to be online, believe it or not. It's going to be the shortest webinar I think I've ever done. We're only going to be online for maximum 30 to 45 minutes. Andrew's got kids as well, so he wants to spend some time with them this evening. Now, you're going to be surprised, and especially for those that come on webinars and they're quite, they're quite familiar with how the whole webinar process goes. You're going to be surprised to hear that there is no course for sale. It's meant to say for sale at the end of this webinar, which means that there is no upsell, there is no false promises, and it is just pure content. Now, guys, if you wouldn't mind, okay, wow. So hang on, let's just quickly check. So Haycon says, can you bring the microphone closer to your mouth? Can everyone hear us nice and loud and clearly, please? Just let me know, especially if you're listening on Facebook, whether you're listening on, yeah, okay, so everyone's saying that they can hear nice and loud and clearly. Might just want to turn us up there if you can't hear us. So, but what I would like from you, remember, there's no sale, which means that, you know, technically speaking, we're not making any money off this webinar, but what I would like you to do is give us a like on my Instagram page. So I've got Instagram, which is Arsh Ellahi. I've got an actual Facebook page, Arsh Ellahi. And then more importantly, this is probably the most important one. I want you to actually enjoy the session and interact with us. If you're not on the webinar, you're listening on Facebook, you're listening on Instagram, and you're listening on YouTube, feel free. There's a link at the bottom of the post, and you can join this session, because we're going to shut this off in approximately a couple of minutes. So why should you listen to me? Who is Arsh Ellahi? Well, first of all, I'm a best-selling author of a book called Boom, Bust and Back Again. And as the title suggests, it's never always been an easy journey for me. It's been quite a journey. I've seen some good times. I've seen some extremely bad times, and I'm back again to tell the tale. I've been involved in property full-time since the year 2000. So I've been in property 18 years. So I'm not one of these guys that have been on a workshop and then have literally come and try and run a course off the back of that. I've been running a successful letting agency or group of letting agencies for the last 8 years. And in 2 years, well, I say in 2 years, I've built a rent-to-rent portfolio that gives me quite a healthy cash flow. But that's just one part of my business. Now I've got 13 other businesses that works extremely well for us, and I am all property related. So here we go. So the guys that are listening in on Facebook, here's where we close it now, because we're going to get straight into the meat, the problem with estate agents. So we're going to talk about estate agency. We're going to talk about how to get direct to vendors. If you want to listen live, you have to join the webinar. The link is on my Facebook page or on my profile. You have to join the webinar, and what we're going to be doing is that I'll be seeing you all very shortly. Thank you. Bye-bye. Right, guys, now I'm only with you guys on the webinar. So, right. So, just so that you know, my background is, okay, so James Mitchell says, anyone talking? Yes, I am talking, James. You may need to just log in, log out, and log back in. Right, okay. So just so that you know, my background as a property investor is that I've always believed in doing deals direct with vendors. Now, I've got a company, remember back in the year 2000 when things were good, people were buying properties with the likes of companies like Mortgage Express, where they allowed you to buy, refinance the same day, allowing you to get your money back out. And I was one of the first people that advertised in the back of the newspaper. So I've got a company called We Buy Properties Fast.co.uk. I was one of the first people to advertise in the back of our local newspaper in Wolverhampton. As a result of that, we then did a national marketing campaign where we wanted to get direct to vendor. So I understand the struggles of trying to get direct to vendor. As a result of the struggles going direct to vendor, I also understand the problems with estate agents today. Now, the reason why I'm going to put an emphasis on this very simply is because I love estate agents because they can bring us a load of business. And I'm not here to slag off estate agents, or I'm not here to badmouth any estate agents. But what I am here to do today to tell you about is the problem or the short-sightedness that estate agents have. And I use the word short-sightedness because they never see the bigger picture. They just assume that a property investor is going to walk into their office and say, hi, my name is Arsh. I like that property. You know, I will buy for cash, complete within 3 days, but I want a 25% discount. Now, does that resonate with any of you guys? Is anyone on the webinar walked into an estate agent and actually said that? You know, and be clear about this. You know, there's nothing wrong with that, because between 2000 and 2006, that was all the rage. That was all the rage. People walking into an estate agent going, yeah, okay. So quite a few of you said no. So I probably approach estate agents up and down the country saying, yeah, I'm a cash purchaser, I can complete quickly, we can do deals, but you know, we'll look at properties that need some renovation, you know, need some work done to it, but as a result of that, you know, we'll need some form of negotiation on the price. We would never have gone in and said, I want 25% off the purchase price, because they would have thrown us out the door. Now, oh, I don't know why that's on. Okay, so the reason why I'm not a big fan of estate agents is, yes, they love property. Yes, they love to sell property. But my personal opinion of them is that they don't really understand property investors. They automatically assume that you're very cutthroat. Sorry, guys, I don't know why. Why is this going on like this? Anyway. Hello. Okay, so God knows what that is. And the reason when my phone rings a couple of times, I will always just assume that there's an issue. Bear with me a sec. Hello. Hello. Okay, so it seems like someone's playing a game. Right, we're going to cut that off. Right, what we're going to keep moving. Apologies about that, guys. And what I will do is I'm just going to pass this over. Shireen. Sorry about that, guys. I just want to make sure that there's not an issue with one of my properties. A lot of my tenants all have my mobile number, and I want to make sure that there's never an issue. So that's never really happened before, but that's real, and that's part of property, unfortunately. Right, okay. So going back to estate agents, they love the thought of selling property, and they like property because obviously from their point of view, it's a business. On the other side of it is that they make commission from selling property, but they do not really understand property investors. The reason why I say that is that they think that we're all very much part of the business side of it, and we want 25 to 30% off the market value, which isn't always correct. The other reason why I don't like estate agents is that because, in essence, they're not the decision makers, and I always want to be at a point where we're dealing directly with the person that owns the property or the person that can make the decision for the property. The other reason why I don't like estate agents, they may not always put your offer forward in the best light. And when I say in the best light, just for argument's sake, how many of you guys have been to a vendor or been to a property and said to the agent, well, perhaps I would like to potentially exchange and delay the completion? Or whether you've tried to acquire the property in a strategic manner, but they haven't really grasped the concept of what you're trying to put forward. And as a result of not grasping the concept, they haven't been able to put it forward in the best light, which in essence means that the vendor doesn't understand what you're proposing and will instantly say, sorry, not for us, you either buy it or not. And the reason why I say that, is because I've been in scenarios where I've explained exactly the same thing to the estate agent and they didn't understand it. However, they managed to put me directly with a vendor and I've said exactly the same thing and they've got it. So as a result of that, there's, I'm not a big fan of them. I can work with them and I'm still buying properties through them, but I prefer to go direct to the vendor. So for the people that are on the webinar, okay, so Martin has said, I've been there myself as well, so I understand what you're going through. So, okay, so what are the traditional methods to going direct to vendor? Let's get straight into it. Now, straight away, I'm not going to say to you tonight, you have to go out and put out 100,000 leaflets in your area and you've got to blanket cover the whole area. Because yes, that still does work, believe it or not. We still send out on average around 10,000 leaflets a month. Does it bring in a massive return of business? I wouldn't say it's a great, well, I'd say it's a good strategy. Is it my number one focus of strategy? No, it's not. Reason being is that it's not a very targeted approach. We're putting it out there hoping that someone's going to say, okay, I'm thinking about selling my property, let's give Arsh a call. One of the ones which is my most targeted approaches, which we're going to be talking to you about tonight, is writing letters. And the one person that I'm going to bring online shortly is Andrew, who's going to be telling you why we should be writing letters. Now, there are other angles. Yes, there are property portals. You've got Sparium, you've got Gumtree, you've got Make Your Move, you've got Property, UPad. There are so many portals out there that you can get go direct to the vendor. There are networking meetings up and down the country. There's hundreds of networking meetings up and down the country, and there are hundreds of landlords forums. But that means that you've got to put the time, the effort in to go and attend these, meet the people, build the rapport, and as a result of that, hopefully get your foot through the door. Okay, so Carl says it's important to do a bit of everything in order to cover your ground. I agree with that. However, Carl, that is timely and it's very expensive. If you're putting out leaflets, let's face it, networking meetings at a time is £20 a time. Now, if you go to 4 of those a month, that's £80 straight away. £80 a month, 100. So that's best part of £1,000 a year. Now, leaflets, depending on your design, depending on the size, etc., could easily cost you the best part of 5, 6, let's say £1,000 for leaflets, depending on where you go. Again, depending on size, colours, etc. Letters can be very targeted because you can write the number of letters which are required for the style of property that you're for, the budget that you're looking for, and we're going to be going through this in a short while. Now, with regards to landlords forums, now for me, landlords forums is still one of the great untapped resources for finding direct to vendors, and I don't mind sharing this evening because I go to hundreds. Well, I don't go to hundreds, that's an exaggeration, but I definitely go to at least 50 landlords forums across the country. And now the difference between networking meetings and landlords forums are people who are specifically after local knowledge in that location. So for argument's sake, I know that Wolverhampton, Sandwell and Walsall have a West Midlands landlords forum, and in that landlords forum there's approximately 450 landlords in that location. Now, that's not property investors. Yes, they are property investors. There's a difference between property investor and a landlord. I would consider myself a landlord first because I own property, and a property investor second because I'm still buying, doing up, selling, rent-to-rent service accommodation, lease options, and all the other stuff. I call that as an investor, more the hands-off approach and more the strategic approach. The landlord is me renting properties out to our tenants and, either using letting agents or my own letting agents and dealing with the stuff on a day-to-day basis. So landlords forums, I get to see the pain, the motivation. I get to see people pouring out their hearts about the new legislation coming out, moan and whine about Section 24. And I've done a number of deals. I've done a number of deals through landlords forums. Okay, so let's keep moving on. What's one of the benefits of going directly to the vendor? Now, the vendor is a person who is, I don't know what's going on with my spelling today, motivated, who is motivated to do the deal. They are actually the person feeling the pain. Now, just imagine a vendor that has potentially missed mortgage payments. Now, as far as an estate agent is concerned, the vendor and their property is another property on their book. Now, the difference being is from a vendor's point of view, they don't want to be treated as a number. They want to be treated as a person and as a priority. Now, unfortunately, estate agents are not able to do that. Why are they not able to do that? Because they don't have the time and they don't have the personnel and the ability to give each person that tailored approach. Whereas you, as a property investor, potentially have that time and that ability to do that. And we're going to be showing you how to do that this evening. So they're the person that's actually feeling the pain because they're the person that's actually missing that payment every month. They're the person that's receiving that letter from the mortgage company saying, pay up or we're taking you to the court. The estate agent doesn't see any of that. They don't see any of the psychology, all the pain, all the motivation behind it. Estate agents really go and scratch the surface when it comes to vendor circumstances. It's very rare that estate agent will go and say, well, just out of curiosity, why are you selling? And then the vendor will pour out and say, well, I missed the payments and, we're about to get repossessed. The estate agents don't really care about that. As far as they're concerned, it's a property that they've got on their books. It's another one that they've managed to get within their manor or their patch. And as a result of that, as far as they're concerned, they've got it as opposed to one of their competition. Now, going back to what I said earlier, the vendor is more likely to be open to strategic acquisitions. Now, when I talk about strategic acquisitions, we're going to be talking about stuff like rent-to-rent, we're going to be talking about lease options, we're going to talk about exchange and delayed completions, we're going to be talking about planning gains. So you can create real win-win scenarios, which you wouldn't have been able to do if you were dealing directly with an estate agent. Now, just give me an example. Not last week, it was actually 3 weeks ago. I got approached by a landlord that I met in a landlord's forum, believe it or not. And after we spoke to him, I wrote him a letter saying, hey, how you doing? Good to meet you. And he said, well, Arsh, he goes, one of the properties that I own, I actually live in. And as a result of that, I'm thinking about selling. And he goes, it's a 14-bedroom house. He goes, are you interested in coming over and having a look at it? He goes, I understand that you're a property investor, you may be able to do something with it. And I said, you know what, I'd love to come over and have a look at it because first of all, straight away I thought 14-bedroom house, I'm definitely going to either be able to turn it into a HMO, block of apartments or something. Went over to meet him and he goes, well, I'm thinking about putting it on with an estate agent. And I said to her, let's just call him Mr. T for now. So I said to him, Mr. T, okay, hold your horses. We don't need to do anything right now. I don't want to instruct the estate agent or anything like that because that's going to cost you money. What I would like is, with your permission, approximately 2 to 3 weeks where I can do some due diligence on this property. He goes, well, what can we do with that? He goes, what do you think it's worth? I said, I reckon it's worth circa around £600,000. I go, oh, okay. He goes, I paid 295 for it. I've spent approximately another 200 on it. So it owes me around 495. I think it's just under, yeah, about £500,000. So, you know, at 650, he goes, I'm nearly 70. So, you know, to be fair, I've got no mortgage on it now. I'd be happy to sell it that. I said, well, that's what it's worth on the open market. But I said, if you allow me to do something or become a little bit, not, I didn't say become a little bit creative. I said, I just want to spend a bit of time doing some due diligence on it. I think I might be able to get you more than that. And he goes, but you're going to give me more than what I'm actually asking for. I said, well, if you allow me time with it, and I said, are you in any rush? He goes, no. He goes, I've been here nearly 19 years. There's no reason, you know, for the sake of a month or so, that's going to start. I said, with all due respect, a house of this size isn't going to be to everyone's taste because, you know, large 40-bed house properties, they're going to be more suitable to property investors and property developers. So what we did, long story short, I've got my architects around there. We've now structured a deal with the vendor where the £600,000 we've agreed. However, I'm not paying that money. What we've structured with him is that I've got my architect round. We've got a scheme put together where I think we can get 32 apartments on it. We're going to do a subject to planning deal. And on the basis that we get planning permission for 32 apartments, I think there was 22 beds and 12 one-beds. It sits on 1.1 acres. And as a result of getting 32 flats, or even 30 flats on it, we will structure where he gets 600,000 for the property. And then if we sell the site and we don't build it ourselves personally, we will then give him 50% or a percentage of the uplift of whatever we sell it for. Now, from a vendor's point of view, can you imagine if I put that kind of structure to an estate agent? Can you think of how the estate agent, what would, you know, from the guys that are online now, if you were an estate agent and I came to you and said, guys, okay, I like the property, I want to buy the property, but I don't want to buy it yet, I want to do it subject to planning, it may take approximately between 3 and 6 months, what would you have said to me? You know, this is your point now, to think outside the box. Would you have said, Arsh, yes or no? Arsh, it's, you know, as far as I'm concerned, it's too messy, I just want to sell the property, I want to get my commission and I want to go and move on to the next property. Because I know what an estate agent will say. But guys, if you're listening in on the webinar, which I suppose I better ask the question, are you still listening in on the webinar? Andy, can you still hear me?
I can.
Okay, so Martin straight away, he goes, go away would be the average reaction. Okay, so Wadid says yes, of course. Lots of people are saying yes. Okay, so the people that are saying yes are generally the people that kind of property investors. But Paul has said estate agents would not understand that. And that's exactly the response that I would get. If an estate agent was there and say, Arsh, why should I wait for you for 6 months when I can potentially sell this for 600,000? They don't understand the fact that I'll be able to get them more than 600,000 just by allowing me a bit of time. Okay, so allow me to introduce Andrew Marnell. Sorry, Andrew, I stole this off your Facebook profile. So here's Andrew. He's a normal property investor, just like you and I, who has previously struggled to get in front of the owner. Now, the reason why Andrew is online tonight is because he's created a system called the Elite Property Leads, which now gives you key data to go directly to the vendor. He was sick of us calling estate agents and not returning calls or arranging viewings. But more importantly, one thing I'm going to ask Andrew to do is go further on this, is that Andrew was not 100% comfortable on the phone and prefers writing letters and emails. So Andrew, do you want to introduce yourself, give us a little indication, go from there?
Yeah, evening all. I'm, as Ash is, I've got a couple of properties. I've been involved in property for, I think it's about 15 years now. I, I just had properties that were just looking after themselves, never really thought about doing much. And then through a mutual acquaintance, I got introduced to Arsh, and obviously the things that he does, and sourcing was something that jumped out to me, and I thought, that's something that I fancy doing on two levels, one for myself and one for sourcing to, in a way, make sort of cash on that way. So obviously having spoken to Arsh and finding out what to do, and Arsh is as we all know, he can talk and talk, and he's very confident in what he does. And I'm confident around people I know, I'm confident on subjects that I know. But when it came to sort of searching through Rightmove and finding properties, I could find what I wanted, and then when it came to picking up the phone and dealing with estate agents, I was very hesitant, very uncomfortable, and it's like everything else. If you're not confident in that first dealing, then it makes life difficult, and they can sense that you're not comfortable. So I was always looking for a way around it. If I could email people, and again, emails weren't ideal, and trying to get email addresses of people was very difficult. So my approach became, well, I'll try and go more direct to vendor. And in order to do that, you need to have, in a way, the address to send the letter to. I've spoken to various people, and they sort of suggested getting a VA to do this work. And I had a quick play at that, and it's, in a way, it's cheap as chips to get a VA to do these things. But again, I'm fully employed, so I was having a VA scrape the data and send it through. But then what I was finding, life was to a certain degree getting in the way. Family, work, social. I was trying to put some time together, but they'd be scraping data for me for a week, and it might be the week after or before I could get to that. And then what I was having to do was to click on the link to see if the property was still for sale. And sometimes it wasn't, it had gone. If I couldn't get around to it, I was then thinking, well, I'm paying for information that is potentially soon out of date. So what I decided to do was I wanted to be able to focus on sending letters. As I say, I'm not comfortable on the phone, so the letter aspect was what I wanted to do. And again, as somebody mentioned earlier, you can have all means of marketing, etc. But again, it was the budget side of it. I wanted to be as careful as I could and try and make the best of what I had and build that up. And as the sourcing side got bigger and the income increased from it, to utilize those funds to make life bigger and better, and to do more leaflets and do other ways of marketing. So what I decided to do was to create an application that went and, in a way, replaced the VA. And the reason for doing that was that if I had I work away, if I was working away for a couple of weeks and therefore couldn't do anything on the property side, that data wasn't building up and just sitting there. It was a matter of, well, I don't do anything for 2 weeks. I come back after the 2 weeks. I can then run the app. I can get that information there and then. I can get the address. It also details various other aspects of it that I think Arsh will come to in a bit, that enable me to focus specifically on the area that I wanted to do. And as I say, I could run it now within an hour or so. I could have tons and tons of leads. That will enable me to merge it into a spreadsheet, mail merge, and I could get the letters out the same night. And that was the reason why I moved on to what I was doing. I say that the last bit in there, they're not 100% comfortable. In a way, that's a bit of an understatement when it came to phone estate agents. I just wasn't comfortable at all. And I really did struggle on that front.
Okay, so can anyone relate to what Andrew said? How many of you guys are not very comfortable with being on the phone? How many of you guys literally are happy instead of what? I'm very comfortable on the phone. I've got to admit, I've got no problem picking up the phone to anyone and everyone and having a chat with them. But not everyone's like me, and I completely get that. Lots of different processes. That's why people send out leaflets. That's why people send out letters. That's why people make phone calls. That's why people send out emails. So with the Elite Property Lead system, when Andrew showed me this, I thought this was fantastic. Now, it's something that I've been doing for a number of years, but when Andrew said to me that he created this app, in essence, he created a system where it can show any property in your allocated area, which gives you live property on, which is live on property portals today, and give you data such as the full property address, the current asking price, how long it's been on the market for, whether the property has had any price drops, how much the vendor purchased the property for, which is a key, which no other portal, this is additional data to anything that you can get out there. The last sold date, how long have they owned it, and how many agents have been marketing the property. The reason why I say that this is key, is because let's go through these. Now, if you go on Rightmove, a lot of the properties don't even give you the full address. They'll give you ABC Street, Stockport, for argument's sake. Now, ABC Street, Stockport might have 200 properties on. Which property is for sale? How do we get the house number? Now, Andrew's created a system which allows you to which will give you the full property address. It'll even tell you how much they're selling the property for. Now, one of the beautiful things about this system, which I liked, and I love this, Andrew will say that the moment I saw this system, I thought this was fantastic, and I said I'd want to help him market the system. How long has it been on the market for? So, for argument's sake, if something's been on the market, came on yesterday, they may not be very motivated to do a deal today because they think they haven't given it a long enough run on the market. However, if it's been on since 2016, do you think the vendor has got some form of pain and motivation? They're motivated to do a deal. It could be that the property is overpriced, and that's something that we'll have to have a look at. And we'll need to have a look at what else is going on in that. So we're not going to say that, because it's been on for 2015, it could be that there's reasons why it hasn't sold. It could be structural, but by going directly to the vendor, it can allow you to pull out or extract this data, which agents wouldn't allow you to do. Just give me an example. There was a property up in Bradford. It was a 14-bedroom HMO, and I said to him, I spoke to him on Friday. Was it Friday? Sorry, it was Thursday. I spoke to him on Thursday. I said, "Hi, I'm interested in your property. You said that it's currently tenanted. Can you give me some information about the tenants?" They said, "Okay, give me your name and number, and I'll email something over to you." That was on Thursday morning. Still, we're here on Sunday. Still haven't received it. If this was a property investor, this was a property vendor, chances are, yes, they would give you that information live there and then, and as a result of that, they'll also email you as well. So, how much the vendor purchased the property for will allow you to gauge. We're not taking into consideration for personal financial circumstances there. It'll allow you to gauge roughly how much equity they've got in the property. And the reason why I say that's key, if they bought it prior to the crash, chances are, depending on location, and there are lots of caveats that I have to mention there, location, personal circumstances, etc. Chances are there may be a negative equity, which means that, in theory, if they've got it on at 90,000 and their mortgage is 88,000, they can't really afford to give you a discount on that property. Which means that then you have to start thinking strategically and thinking, well, how else can I acquire this property? How else can I create a win-win scenario? Why are they selling it? Are they upscaling, downscaling? Are they in property debt? What is the issue? And as a result of that, you're in a position then where you can actually create a solution for their problem. Now, the other data that we have access to is the last sold date, how long have they owned it for, and then finally, how many agents are actually marketing the property. If there's more than one agent, again, is there motivation there? So we ran some data specifically for tonight's webinar on areas. I said to Andrew today, I said, Andrew, can we run some live data specifically for areas? So I wanted to cover pretty much north, south, east, and west. So we went, Andrew, so you're going to have to help me out here. So Newcastle's north, Southampton is south. Which one's east and west? So Derby's
central.
West. Okay, kind of.
Derby central. Norwich is east.
Okay, brilliant. So they're the 4 areas. So just give me an example here. So these are all properties which are live as of today. Now, I'm going to show you this spreadsheet. So we've got address, asking price, last sold price. For the purpose of this webinar, and I will be perfectly clear, we have chopped off house numbers so that someone doesn't think, oh, we're clever, da, 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 da. And as a result of that, we're going to try and approach this data which Arsh is providing. And right, let's give you a quick indication. Here's the spreadsheet. The ones that we've highlighted in red, we think there's a deal to be done. Now, just so that you know, this is Newcastle upon Tyne, and in Newcastle upon Tyne, we found that there were best part 450 deals. So actually, first question that's come in by Brent: does this work in Scotland, Aberdeen, and Glasgow? So Andrew.
I've not tried it in there, but if there's information on Rightmove, it will go away and get it.
Okay, do you want to do me a favour?
Yeah.
Glasgow, do you want to start it and we'll run it and then we'll go back to Brent within a couple of minutes?
Okay, let's see.
Yeah, okay, so our first area, we're going to touch base on, let's try either Glasgow or Aberdeen, you choose, Andrew, yeah? So there's 450 deals there. Now, all the ones that we've highlighted in red are the ones that are showing. So for argument's sake, this one here, it's on with 2 agents, it's had a price drop. Asking price is 139,000. Hang on. No, here we go. So asking price is 190. Last sold price was 120, which means that the last sold versus asking price is approximately £69,000 in equity. It's a 3-bed semi-detached house, and it's been on the market for 143 to 144 days, which means that it's been on the market for 3 months. Now you can filter this data according to how many days, so that you could start to write out to all these guys pretty much straight away. Now there's properties here that there's been a price drop. So purchase asking price was 170, last sold price was 125. Now he's dropped his price by 10 grand. What's that telling you about that property? You know, remember, we can be very analytical when it comes to property. Okay, it's been on the market nearly 3 months. You know, but he's dropped his price within 3 months, and it's on the market with 2 different agents. So there's lots of data that we can provide, and you know, here, all these have all got full house numbers, which you can then approach the owner. The only difference is that we don't have the vendor's name or address. That's the only thing that we do not have. Andrew, is there anything that you want to add to that? So, do you want me to?
Go on. Sorry, Ash.
Sorry, I was going to say, do you want me to make you the presenter here, where you can show people about the information?
Sure.
Yeah. Okay. So, let's pass you over to Andrew. So, Andrew, over to you. We're going to hopefully see your screen in a second, Andrew.
Let me know when you can see it. I've clicked on the button.
Okay,
so
we can see Newcastle upon Tyne.
Okay, so as Ash has highlighted, and hopefully it's self-explanatory, is the fields we've got across the top. The way that the spreadsheet and the extract is filtered, as you can see, there's plenty of red across the screen. I've set that up for criteria that I felt was necessary. That's a starting point to allow you to do that. If you look in the address column, I've sorted everything by address, so therefore, it starts at, I think it was number 1 and scrolls all the way down. So if you look at the first sort of rows 3 and 4, the Hensby Court, the fact that there's 2 of those and they're highlighted, it just highlights any duplicates. So what you can see from there is straight away that house is on with 2 different estate agents. So again, that allows you would think that if people have got it on with more than 1 estate agent, they're more motivated than just having it on by 1 estate agent. And if we scroll across to this one, I think if you look at Half Mile, excuse me, you can see there on the right hand side now that it's on with 2 estate agents. It was on with one. It's been on one for 244 days, and the second one for 72 days. So obviously, 72 days ago, they got fed up with it not selling with one estate agent, and that's why they approached another. So from that aspect of it, you would expect that they are motivated because they're trying to do all they can do. So that's what the first highlight is in that column. As you say, it provides the address from there. The second highlight we've got in the column D, the last sold versus asking price, that shows you basically anything that we at a high level is in negative equity, i.e. that they're looking to sell it for less than they bought it for. Again, that might, if you say, for example, for lease options, you try and narrow down the specific areas you're looking at rather than be, some people go and look at all sorts of deals. Other people want to be very specific. So from that aspect of it, if you're interested in lease options or you wanted to come up with more creative ideas, then they're the properties that you could be highlighting. Column E, that speaks for itself. That just shows, again, in the case of this one here, 5 Whitworth, you can see that with one estate agent, they've lowered the price. So that, again, it's on with 2 estate agents. Since we last ran the extract, they've lowered the price by 10 grand. Again, this gives you for me, it's a key indicator that they are, motivated and that they're trying to do what they can to get rid of it. So therefore, going direct to them, you can get more of an understanding as to what they want and how you can help them. As you see, they're 179 days, 89 days ago, they got fed up, added another estate agent, and now they've reduced the price even further from that one. And then the final column, the days itself, that's highlighted to give you anything over 90 days, 3 months. But as with any of these, you can, if you've got Excel, you can then filter. At the moment, as I say, anything in red is essentially 90 days. You could change that. You could filter to do anything greater than 180 days, should you so wish, and it will narrow those down. So as you can see there, it's the filter itself. When you get the extract, it's got certain filters highlighted at what, having spoken to Arsh and what I feel are the key indicators, but it gives you the ability, with it being in a spreadsheet, to chop and change, to sort it and filter down specifically what you're looking for. Whether you wanted 3 bed, the majority of these are 3 bed. When we ran it, again, the criteria we can run it for is 1 bedroom up to 10 bedrooms, 10 plus, 3, just 3 only, 3 to 4s, 2 to 4s, whatever you decide. We can filter. It can be filtered on that to get the extract, and then once you've got that, you can then filter it down even more via the use of Excel to get the specific target that you're looking for. Has anybody got any questions on that they don't feel that I need to answer?
Okay, so what you can do, how have you got on with the one over in Scotland, mate? Is that data come through?
Yeah, I just ran it for a limited set, and yeah, we've got information that's come through from there. It's a very raw data that it comes out with, and it's on a different machine, so I can't actually show you that, but it comes out eventually in the same format as this. But the answer to your question, can it be run in Glasgow? Yes, it can, and it will give you the same information.
Brilliant. Okay. So right, brilliant. Andy, can you just make me back the presenter, please?
I can.
So a couple of questions that have come in. Okay. So a couple of people come in and says, what data? So here we go. Yeah. So we've got some good questions that have come in. Let's just quickly go through these. So, okay, so Charlotte says, where do you get the house number? So we can provide you with all the house numbers. So we send out, just so that you know, what we're showing you tonight is a system called the Elite Property Leads. And what we do is that should anyone, if you were to, let's just say, if you were to be interested, you said, oh, okay, I want to find a number of leads in, for argument's sake, some people said Birmingham, some people said London. You'd have to be a little bit more specific than London. You'd have to probably put in Lewisham or whatever the area, the Romford, etc. the area is. We could email you a list of, so with Andrew's app that he's created, or Andrew's, let's call it system that he's created, we could email you a list of, 30, 50, 70, 100, like for argument's sake, we've just shown you there, Newcastle. We've only limited it to 100 leads at the moment. We could give you a head start so that you could start your marketing machine where you can go direct to the owner. So we give you the full address. So it wouldn't just be part of the address, it would be the full address. It gives you all the information that you've got on that spreadsheet that we've seen there. And yes, the one thing that we are going to say, I'm going to put a caveat out there in a second. You can save yourself a shed load of time because you can look at which property isn't selling. You don't need to focus on the ones that were added yesterday because, like I said, there's motivation and there's no real reason for them not to do a deal. However, the ones that are switching agents, the ones that have shown negative equity, the ones that are showing price drops, they're the ones that you should be focusing on, saying, guys, okay, my name's Paul Gilby. I'm a property investor. I've bought properties in this location, and you go through all the benefits of what you can offer. I wouldn't put a standard generic letter out there saying I can buy your property in 21 days, all your legals guaranteed. You've got to make it a little bit more personal than that. Vendors have become a little bit more sophisticated. Okay, so Dan says, does this run, this purely runs on Rightmove? No, we use a number of different ways to get the data. So it's not because Rightmove doesn't give you all that information. We have to serve loads of different places. That's why we collate the data and we send it to you. So, okay, so Martin has said, how sure are you that the exact address is correct? Okay, so Andrew, do you want to just, without giving away too many secrets, how sure are you that the exact address is correct?
Well, I'm 99% sure, if not slightly more than that. The method we used to do it. It does extract not directly from the land registry from properties that have been sold, but it's as near as damn it.
Yeah, so we get a lot of the data from a source which is very close to land registry. So okay. So it saves, like I said, it saves you a shed load of time, and it allows you to look at properties which may be in negative equity and those who purchased prior to the crash. Now, just so you know, I'll put a link at the bottom for the next few slides. It's elitepropertydrive.co.uk/EPL, which is Elite Property Leads. And if you wanted to, I'm going to put the caveat out there along with Andrew saying this data is readily available. If you've got time and you want the headache and the hassle of going through each individual property, as opposed to, what Andrew and I could do is, if you were to go onto that link there, it'll say that you can purchase 30 leads for £30, 40 leads for £40. So in essence, it's £1 a lead. But in essence, what we're saying is that if you were to say, okay, I want 30 leads by tomorrow, within 24 hours, which is what we say, within 24 hours, that spreadsheet will be emailed to you and be sat in your inbox in a format where you can then literally run it as a mail merge, ready to go and pretty much send letters to as early as tomorrow night. So for argument's sake, if we get some inquiries this evening, Andrew will then go off and run the data on that, and then he will email you within 24 hours, so 24 hours of tonight. And as a result of that, you'll then have all the information, which means that you've got to then start using that data. We can't tell you what to do with that data. We can give you the data, we can get you the data. What you do with that data then is completely up to you. Okay, so Gaz has put a question. He goes, the property for sale may not be occupied by the owner, so he or she may not get the letter. That is very true, Gaz. Now, if it's an investment property, in theory, or if they were to do if the solicitor was to have done this correctly at the time of purchase, the vendor should have put their correspondence address and lodged it at land registry, which is where we get a lot of the data, or very close to data from. So we can only get the data which is available to us. So if the property is number 1, 2, 3 ABC Street, but they live at number 7, 8, and 9 ABC Streets, the letter will go to whatever data is available there. So there are caveats out there. Yeah, I'm not gonna suggest that. You know, so for argument's sake, some people will buy it with residential mortgages, which means that in theory the mortgage company assumes that they live at the property, but then they rent the property out. You know, there are lots of reasons why that letter would get to the address, but it may not be the vendor that picks it up. We can't be responsible for that, nor can estate agents, nor can letting agents, which is when they send their letters out, which is, we're using a far more advanced system than letting agents and estate agents do for touting their business. So what we're doing, we're going one step ahead of the estate agent. So you could have a whole batch emailed to you within 24 hours, ready for you to approach as early as tomorrow. So again, it's elitepropertytribe.co.uk/EPL. Now you've got to remember, I've been using this approach, writing letters directly to vendors, for the last 18 years, and it's put me in direct contact with thousands of vendors. Now, the one thing I will say to you is, remember, you don't have to personally purchase each property. Now, some people may be thinking, okay, I'm going to write out to all these people, and what happens if they all come back to me and say, yes, buy my house, buy my house, buy my house? You don't personally have to buy them. Like I've done with the guy with the 14-bed house, I've structured a deal with them where now, and one of the questions that's come through says, Arsh, what happens if you get the planning permission? How are you going to sell it to your list, or how are you going to sell it? Now, if we get the planning permission for 32 apartments, I'm going to sell that onto a developer, which means that, for argument's sake, if it's worth the best part of £1 million, which is what I think it may be worth, we'll give the vendor his 600,000. We'll give him a percentage of the uplift. Let's say if I'm feeling generous, we give him 50% of the uplift. It means that he's going to get 800,000 as opposed to 600,000. I'm going to get £200,000 for a bit of work, a bit of legwork in the centre for property that I don't own. I've got no envisage on owning it. I'm definitely not going to build it out, and we move forward from there. It's another deal done. Remember, you don't have to personally purchase each property. The power of being direct to the vendor is that you decide which deals you want to keep or which deals you want to sell on. You may find a 3-bedroom house and you say, you know what, Arsh, okay, I was buying property, I'm pretty much at my limit at the moment, I'm going to sell this on. And you could sell it on through your databases, whether you want to do a deal with me and sell it my databases, or whether you want to put it out on Facebook and see if an investor on there wants to buy it off you, and you monetize every deal. The one thing that I really like about dealing direct to vendor, I'll give you a little story actually. So a couple of weeks ago, I went to see a property. It's in Wolverhampton. It's a house converted into 4 flats. The agent called me and said, Arsh, we'd sold this property previously. The guy's just pulled out because he hasn't got sufficient funds. Are you ready to step in? And I said, yes, I am. They go, there's one thing though. They go, if you say yes to us today, you've got to exchange within 14 days. And I said, yeah, I'm happy to exchange in 14 days. Now, day 13, I got an email from, I got a phone call from the agent saying, are you still ready to exchange tomorrow? I said, yes, I am. My solicitor's got all the funds. And then she goes, you do know we've got to complete tomorrow as well. I said, whoa. That wasn't the deal. The deal is that we're going to exchange. Completion date was to be set. And so I got put under a lot of pressure and almost put under a time constraint from estate agent, from saying, well, if you can't complete the deal, we may have to renegotiate. Now, with a vendor, you can you can create that timescale according to your choosing, like I've done with the guy with the 14-bed house. I can turn it around. I bought myself 3 to 6 months, whereas previously the agent would have wanted someone to turn it around within 4 to 8 weeks. Okay, so Evelyn has asked, when requesting buying leads, can you be specific with the type of leads you want? For example, ask for leads in negative equity only. Now, Evelyn, what we'll do is in scenarios like that, you can't, because that is very targeted. So one thing that we can do, we can send you the data and then you only write out to the ones which are in negative equity. Does that make sense? So for argument's sake, if Evelyn said, I want 100 leads in Birmingham, we would send her 100 leads in Birmingham. And if she said that I only want 3 bedrooms, 3 or plus, and the budget is between 100 to 250,000, we would send her all the properties out for sale as of today. And you can have a look, and they would be highlighted, as we've shown you on the webinar tonight, specifically for that, and then you can look at them, and then you can literally just ping them a letter as of tomorrow. Now, just so that you know, the minimum order is 30 leads, which is for £30. You can buy up to 100 leads at any one point. Now, the one thing that we have done is that you can have it as a one-off purchase or as a monthly prescription to keep up to date as to which. Now, one thing I will say to you is that if you have it as a monthly subscription, some of the data that you may get may be replicated or duplicated for the next month. However, what it will show you is which properties are still available, which are not, which saves you again more time and money. Some properties would have been sold, and it would have removed them off the spreadsheet. Other ones would have been highlighted to say, okay, within the last 30 days, it's had a price drop, or it's been, they've had a new agent on there, or the time increase has been 30 days, which means it gives you a bit more motivation. And all the data that we provide is up to date at the point of supplying. So if you say yes, okay. Okay, so Jag has asked a question: what if one person asks for leads in a what if more than one person asks for leads in a particular location? Okay, so with all due respect, Jack, there's nothing. The same exact. Giving you an example there is that in your location, wherever you may be, what happens if 30 people download the HMO register? It doesn't give you exclusivity to that data, and with all due respect, we can't give exclusivity to one person in that location. However, what you can do, this is where it comes down to you. And for argument's sake, an example of this being is that in Wolverhampton, I'm not the only person proposing to be the best property investor in Wolverhampton. What it all comes down to is you and your ability to convert, and that's the key to it. When I advertise in the back of a paper, I'm up against 40 other people. Which means that when they call me, I've got to be on pretty much my A game. There's no guarantee that, for argument's sake, there's no guarantee that Mr. Smith that calls me is going to instantly fall in love with me. And that's what they have to do. Because, when they call me and say, hi, is that Mr. Hi, is that We Buy Properties Fast? Hi, yes, it is. Who am I speaking to? It's Mr. Smith. Okay, hi, Mr. Smith, how can I help you? And then what we then do is we take them through the rapport building. We take them through the rapport building, and as a result of that, we then take them through the whole process. Now, what you have to do is make them feel comfortable. Because bearing in mind that when your letter's gone and slipped through their door, they're now calling you for a reason or a purpose. Whereas if you've sent them, if they're calling you, they've got some form of motivation and they want to do a deal. Does that kind of make sense? Now, if you can't convert that, it doesn't mean that everyone's going to descend onto Birmingham. And bear in mind that Birmingham's a big area. If you were to say that you wanted 100 leads in Birmingham, I could pretty much guarantee that there's thousands of leads in Birmingham. I typed in Wolverhampton the other day. I think there's 1,300 properties in Birmingham, and that's much smaller. Sorry, in Wolverhampton, and that's much smaller than Birmingham. So if you're requesting 30 leads is a drop in the ocean compared to what is available actually in Birmingham. So that's just something to take into consideration. Okay, so Aruna says, could I trial 30 leads initially with a view of taking a subscription later? Yeah, there's no pressure. Believe it or not, I actually haven't put the subscription on the, I don't think I have anyway. Let's just quickly go through here. Let's just have a quick look, wait for that to come back up in a second. So here we go. So here it is. So the property, so I've just told you, so that's the information that you're going to get. And then here you choose how many leads. So 30, 40, 50, 60, 80, 100. Yeah, the maximum that we've done is 100 for the moment. You put your name, your email address, your telephone number, your city or postcode for the leads. Type of leads that you're after. Are you after houses? You're after flats? Or you after bungalows? And the number of bedrooms. You're after 3 bedrooms, etc. And we go from there. And then you type in your price range, which you'd be looking for, anywhere from £1 going up to £3 million, whatever it may be, and we will go off and get that data for you. So all you do, and then you press pay now, and it will take you through the payment process. And we will send you, from the moment that we receive that request, Andrew and these guys will be working away in the background to get you that information within 24 hours of receiving that request. And as a result of that, you've then got a batch load of vendors' details where you can approach directly. Okay. So Wadid says that spreadsheet that you sent out, do they show the address that is on Rightmove or Zoopla, or is it the landlord's address? It's the property that is for sale. So whatever the address that for that property is, the property for sale, that's the deal. That's the property that we're going to be sending out. Does that make sense? Because that's the information that we've got. Okay, so are the leads, the properties are the ones highlighted in red? Well, believe it or not, the whole spreadsheet's a spreadsheet of leads, because they're all properties which are actually for sale. The ones that are in red are the ones that are more motivated than others. Does that make sense, Chris? Okay, so Harj says, well, how do you get the landlord's address? Remember, Harj, what we're doing here is that we're not only dealing with landlords. You know, if you're after, we're dealing with every property that's for sale. So it could be, for argument's sake, a family that's looking to sell their property, that they want to move from a 2-bedroom to a 3-bedroom, and they're looking to sell their property. It could be that, you know, someone's downscaling, someone's retiring, someone's just died. It could be, whatever the scenario of the property that's for sale, that's the information that you're going to get. Okay, so Colin says, can you target properties that have been on for over 100 days? We will send you the data of what's on for sale at the moment. And then what you could do, Colin, is from there, you could, as Andrew did, you can then target the ones, you could personally target the ones that have been on for sale for in excess of 100 days. Does that make sense? Now, the one thing I would say to you is, bear in mind, guys, that when actually, let's just put it in this way. Have any of you ever tried to sell a property through an estate agent? And then whilst you've been selling that property, you've had another letter from another estate agent saying, we understand that you're trying to sell the property. Because bear in mind is that when you send one property, when you send a letter to a property, okay, so James says yes, that happened recently. When you send a letter to a vendor, they may not always call you on the first letter. And you know, unfortunately, sometimes they may think, oh, here's a guy that's taking a chance. Potentially, you may have to send that vendor 2 or 3 letters in order to generate the interest. And that's, unfortunately, that's part of marketing. So sometimes you may need to get their attention, and then you may need to generate their interest, and then you've got to get them to create a call of action. Now, here's a question from Wadid. Goes, what happens if the agent who has the keys to the property gets out a letter, opens it, and doesn't give it to the landlord? You know, with all due respect, there's not a great deal that I or anyone in the world could do about that. If that letter doesn't reach the hands of that owner, you know, unfortunately, you are going to struggle. That's the fact of it. That is the fact of it. What we're doing is we're giving you an opportunity where you can write to the property address, which is for sale, hope on the basis that the vendor is going to receive that letter, and then on the basis of that they're going to call you to do a deal. We can't guarantee that they are going to call you, because that obviously comes down to what you've put in your letter. If you're going to say, well, hi, my name's Wadid, I'm interested in buying your property, but I only want to buy it 50% off I want to buy it 50% below market value, chances are your call rate is going to be slim to none. However, if you say, hi, my name's Wadid, I'm a property investor, I'm based in this location, I currently just bought some properties in this location, and we're always looking to connect with people who are looking to sell. I'd welcome the opportunity to have a quick chat with you. You can contact me anytime on 07. Chances are they may call you for a quick chat. And then what you say to them on that phone call will potentially turn into a viewing. As a result of a viewing, potentially turn into an offer. So you've got to remember, you know, it's not a case of It's a case of you've got to go through a process. Yes, there is still a bit of work to be done, but we're removing a lot of the work for you by sending you a spreadsheet so that you can literally mail merge and send these letters out pretty much as of tonight or tomorrow, and away you go. Does that kind of make sense? Are there any questions around anything that we've discussed? So someone says, can you just put up the website again? So it is elitepropertytribe.co.uk/EPL. EPL stands for Elite Property Leads, and it will take you to a page like this. And what we do, this is basically my mentoring website called Elite Property Tribe, but we've created a separate page for it. Elite Property Leads, purchase property leads below. It tells you, the reason why you should be doing it, and you can purchase the amount of leads depending on what you want to spend and your budget. You might decide that I'm going to trial it for 30 leads initially. You may decide that you want to trial it for 30 leads initially and then progress on to more. And then it all comes down to you and what your budget is, really. Are there any other questions? We're very light on questions so far. So if there aren't any, okay, so Aruna's said that, yeah, I've answered that one. Okay, so I am going to say that, well, thank you very much for taking the time to learn. Oh, okay, I haven't adapted that. Hope you'll find that these secrets of use so that you can decide whether that this is for you or not. And as always, I always put my mobile number on there. So if you want to have a quick chat, we have got a bit of time, probably this evening, depending on what Mrs. E says. Okay, so hang on. So I'm just quickly going through some of the. Okay, quickly going through. Just going through some of the messages that have just come through now. Okay, so Paul says, can I get leads from multiple areas? Not in one transaction, in one. So if you say that I need 30 leads, that 30 leads will be from one location, because the system wouldn't be able to generate that. So if you wanted 30 leads from Birmingham, 30 leads from Birmingham, Manchester and Leeds, and it'd be pointless, because you'd be getting 5 properties in each location, and the chances of success are very slim. You'd rather target one location, or if you wanted 30 in one location, 30 in another, and there were separate transactions. That's completely up to you, Paul. Okay, so Ali says, how to sell? Okay, so hi, sorry I missed. What happens if you got a good deal and you want to sell it on to investors? So if you want to sell it on to investors, there's lots of ways that you can do that. So first of all, you may start to look to build your own database. Second of all, you could potentially, and I say potentially, there's no guarantee that you could sell it to my database. Or finally, you could, depending on what kind of deal you did, you could potentially put it in auction. Potentially what kind of deal you did, you could put it on Facebook, and you can sell it yourself personally. So there are loads of ways of selling your deals. Selling deals to a property investor, if the deal's good enough, it will sell itself. Does that make sense, Arby? Okay, so Fraser says, what is the cost for a VA to scrape 30 leads? Now, that's a great question, Fraser, because first of all, you've got to find a VA, which means that if you go to a VA agency, they're going to charge you. Believe it or not, I've got 2 VAs that work for me on a day-to-day basis, helping me with lots of my admin tasks. I had to pay £700 just to sign up to the VA system. Second of all, I had to train them as to what to do and how to do, and that took weeks. And they came with lots of information that wasn't relevant. So, in that respect, again, and you could fall back into the trap of, yes, okay, they are cheap and they could work on the basis of, circa, depending on what some VAs work on £2 an hour, £2 an hour, and then they could work for you for 5 hours a day, depending on the time difference. So you could spend the best part of £10 a week, etc. But in that, £10 a day, which is £50 a week, and I don't know how many to get that kind of data? Have they got anything automated, or will they do it manually? I still think the automated system that we've got, is quicker than any VA. So Brent says, what would you specifically send properties which are over 30? Would you be specific? Could I be specific on what types of deals I want, i.e. properties that are on the market for over a specific time period? Andrew, are you still online?
I am, yeah.
Okay, Andrew, Brent has asked a question. Could I be specific what type of leads I want? Property was on the market for over a specific time, or lots of equity in the property? Would you just send 30 leads?
At the moment, the way we would work it, we would just send you 30 leads, and then you could sort the data from there. Being more specific, I mean, a few people have mentioned it. Could I specifically have anything that's over a certain amount, or lease option type deals, negative equity? That's something that we can look at and refining and narrowing it down. So therefore, we can be very specific on those cases. But at the moment, it's just literally you would ask for 30 leads, and we would send those, and then you would use that data to refine it to what you want.
Okay, brilliant. So Gars and Wadid said, you say we can sell deals through your database. Depending on the deal, and like I said, I don't make any guarantee whether your deal's going to sell, because it's impossible to do that. But potentially we could put it out to the investor database. But again, I would put your deal under scrutiny to see if it stacks up. Okay, so what's the cost for? Okay, sorry, we've asked that one. Can you do commercial as well? So Andrew, are you working on commercial as well?
I've not actually run it on commercial because it's not something that I've looked at. Now it's been mentioned, I will have a look at that aspect of it.
Okay, brilliant. Okay, so Wadid says that I will only deal with deals that have come through us, if that makes sense, Wadid. So we probably need to have a chat and see what you got. If you've just got a random deal that you want to have a chat about, that's not something that I want to get involved in, because I could be inundated with stuff like that. Okay, so someone says, can you post the link to the deal order page? And what I will do, I should have done this earlier. Thanks for doing that, Brent. I will put the link in, and I've just sent it to all, and I'll also put it in the chat as well, so that everyone there has got it, and they can just literally click on that, and if they want to do that. Thanks for that, Brent. Okay, so Evelyn's asked a question about rent to rent. Unfortunately, with all due respect, I can't cover every angle on every kind of property deal tonight. With regards to rent to rent, if you want to have a separate chat, you're more than welcome to give me a shout on that tomorrow. Just having a quick look. If there are any other questions, by all means, you can. I'll put the link in the group chat there. If any other questions, and if it is property related, according to what we've discussed tonight, you can call me directly, or you can send me an email direct. But I suppose on that note, I wish you all the very best. Hopefully we can try and service with you guys with some leads. Hopefully you've enjoyed the webinar. And if there are any other questions, feel free to come back to me. Andrew, is there anything that you want to add to this?
No, nothing from me. As you've already iterated, if anyone's got any questions, if you can ping them through to you, then we can hopefully provide an answer.
Okay, fantastic. All right, guys, so on that note, I wish you all the very best. Any problems, feel free to come back to me. And yeah, I wish you all the very best on your property journey. Take care. Good night. God bless.
Cheers all.